The once handsome man became a gaunt, sickly shadow of his former self. His friends abandoned him, unwilling to associate with someone who had become a pariah. Asamoah was the kind of man who could walk into any room and have every head turn. His charm was effortless, his words were sweet, and his intentions were always hidden beneath a veneer of sincerity. To the outside world, he was a successful, well-mannered bachelor with a promising future. But beneath that polished surface lay a heart as cold as stone, driven by greed and the thrill of conquest. Amma was a successful businesswoman, confident and independent. She had worked hard to build her company, and she was proud of what she had achieved. When she met Asamoah, she was instantly drawn to his charm and sophistication. He seemed different from the other men she had encountered. Genuine, caring, and attentive. Their relationship blossomed quickly, with Asamoah showering Amma with attention and affection. They dined at the finest restaurants, took weekend trips to luxurious resorts, and spent long evenings discussing their future together. Asamoah, Amma said one evening as they walked along the beach, the sunset painting the sky in shades of pink and orange. I feel like I've known you my whole life. I've never met anyone like you. Asamoah smiled, squeezing her hand. And I've never met anyone like you, Amma. You're everything I've ever wanted. It wasn't long before Asamoah began to weave his web. He told Amma about a business opportunity, a chance to invest in a lucrative new venture that would secure their future together. He spoke with such conviction and detail that Amma had no reason to doubt him. I trust you, Asamoah, Amma said, signing over a large portion of her savings. I know this will be the start of something amazing for us. But as soon as the money was in his account, Asamoah's demeanor began to change. He became distant, his excuses more frequent. When Amma asked about the business, he was vague, assuring her that everything was going according to plan. Then, one day, Asamoah told Amma that he wasn't ready for a family. It's just not the right time, he said. We need to focus on building our future first. Amma, desperate to keep him happy, agreed. She followed his advice and took steps to prevent pregnancy. But soon after, she discovered that her reproductive health had been irreparably damaged by the contraceptives she had used. When she confronted Asamoah, he was cold, indifferent. Their relationship ended abruptly, and Amma was left with nothing: no money, no family, and no future. Abina was a bright, ambitious law student, full of dreams and aspirations. She met Asamoah at a mutual friend's party, and from that moment, she was captivated. He was older, more experienced, and he made her feel like the most important person in the world. They started dating, and soon, Asamoah was a constant presence in her life. He helped her with her studies, gave her advice on her career, and supported her in every way. But Asamoah had a darker plan in mind. One evening, as they sat in a cozy cafe, Asamoah broached the subject of buying a car. You need something reliable to get around, he said. A car will make your life so much easier, and I can help you pick the right one. Abina was hesitant at first. I don't have the money for that kind of purchase, she said, frowning. I'm just a student. Don't worry, Asamoah reassured her. You can take out a small loan, and I'll help you pay it off. Consider it an investment in your future, trusting him completely. Abina took out the loan and bought the car. But soon after, Asamoah began to pull away. He missed dates, ignored her calls, and when she finally confronted him, he told her he was no longer interested in the relationship. How could you do this to me? Abina cried, her voice trembling. I trusted you. Asamoah's response was chilling. You were just too needy, Abina. I can't be with someone who clings to me like that. Devastated and drowning in debt, Abina's world crumbled around her. She fell into a deep depression, feeling utterly betrayed and worthless. One night, overwhelmed by despair, she attempted to take her own life. Fortunately, she was found in time and rushed to the hospital. But the scars of Asamoah's betrayal would remain with her forever. Yaah was a kind-hearted teacher with a passion for helping children. She lived a simple life, content with her modest home and fulfilling job. When Asamoah entered her life, he brought excitement and romance she had never experienced before. He was attentive, always surprising her with flowers and little gifts. He made her feel cherished, and for the first time in her life, Yaah began to dream of a future filled with love and happiness. Asamoah, I've never been so happy, Yaah said one evening as they sat in her cozy living room, sipping tea. I can't wait to start our life together. Asamoah smiled, his eyes gleaming with deception. Me too, Yaah. But to make our dreams a reality, we need to plan carefully. We should sell your house and buy a bigger place, somewhere we can start a family. Yaah hesitated. Sell my house, but this is my home. It's just a house. Yaah, Asamoah replied smoothly. Our future is more important. Trust me. Blinded by love, Yaah sold her house, handing over the money to Asamoah to handle the purchase of their new home. But once the transaction was complete, Asamoah disappeared. Yaah was left homeless, with no way to contact him and no money to her name. When she discovered that Asamoah had used some of the money to fund his lavish lifestyle and had vanished with the rest, Yaah was devastated. She wandered the streets, heartbroken and lost, unable to comprehend how someone she loved so deeply could betray her so cruelly. Asamoah was a man who thrived on manipulation. He had perfected the art of seduction, leaving a trail of broken hearts and shattered lives in his wake. After draining Amma of her wealth, driving Abena to the brink of suicide, and leaving Yaah homeless, Asamoah felt untouchable. But his encounter with Efua would prove to be his downfall. Efua was different from the other women Asamoah had deceived. She was strong, self-assured, and not easily swayed by charm. Their first meeting was inauspicious. Efua was cautious, aware of men who tried too hard to impress. But Asamoah, ever the patient predator, knew how to play the long game. He took his time, slowly weaving his web of deceit around her. Efua was a woman with dreams and ambitions. She had plans to start a business, to help her family, and to build a future she could be proud of. Asamoah saw these dreams not as aspirations to support, but as opportunities to exploit. He pretended to share her vision, offering advice and promising to invest in her business. Efua, believing she had finally found a man who truly understood her, let her guard down. Asamoah, you've made me believe in love again, Efua confessed one night as they walked under the stars. I was always so careful, so afraid of being hurt. But with you, it feels different. Asamoah smiled, hiding his true intentions behind a facade of tenderness. You don't need to worry, Efua. I'll always be here for you, trusting him completely. Efua invested her savings into the business they were supposed to build together. She poured her heart and soul into the venture, believing that it was the start of a beautiful future with the man she loved. But just like with the others, Asamoah had no intention of staying. Once the money was in his hands, he became distant, his affectionate words turning cold. One evening, when Efua came to visit him, hoping to discuss their plans, she found him packing his bags. Asamoah, what's going on? She asked, panic rising in her voice. He didn't look at her, his face devoid of the warmth he once showed. I'm leaving, Efua. This isn't working out for me anymore. Efua was stunned. What do you mean? We were building a life together. What about the business? What about everything we've planned? Asamoah shrugged, his tone indifferent. I never cared about that. It was just a means to an end. You were too easy to fool, Efua. I got what I wanted, and now I'm done. Efua's heart shattered. She had given him everything. Her love, her trust, her money. And now he was throwing her away like she meant nothing. How could you do this to me? She whispered, tears streaming down her face. Asamoah looked at her, unfeeling. You're just like the rest, weak and gullible. I don't care about you, Efua. I never did. Efua's sorrow quickly turned to anger. She felt a deep, burning rage she had never experienced before. You think you can just walk away from this? From me? Without any consequences? You will regret this. Asamoah, he laughed, a cruel sound that echoed in the empty room. Do your worst, Efua. There's nothing you can do to me. But as Asamoah turned to leave, Efua spoke words that sent a chill down his spine. You will suffer, Asamoah. Every tear I shed, every sleepless night you caused me, will return to you 1,000-fold. I curse you with the pain you've inflicted on others. You will lose everything you hold dear, and you will beg for mercy, but none will come. This is my promise to you. Asamoah felt a momentary pang of fear, but he quickly brushed it aside. Efua was just a woman scorned. What power could she possibly have over him? At first, Asamoah thought nothing of Efua's curse. He continued his life as usual, moving on to new conquests. But it wasn't long before strange things began to happen. His luck, once infallible, started to turn. Business deals that were once sure things fell through, and the women he tried to charm saw through his lies and rejected him outright. Then came the illness. It started as a minor rash, but soon his skin was covered in painful sores that no doctor could heal. He was plagued by nightmares, each one more terrifying than the last. In these dreams, he saw the faces of the women he had wronged: Amma, Abena, Yaah, and Efua, all laughing at his misery. Asamoah's physical appearance deteriorated rapidly. The once handsome man became a gaunt, sickly shadow of his former self. His friends abandoned him, unwilling to associate with someone who had become a pariah. His wealth, acquired through lies and deceit, dwindled as he sold off his possessions in a desperate attempt to find a cure for his ailments. But no medicine, no spiritual healer could provide relief. Rumors spread through Accra about Asamoah's fall from grace. People whispered about the man who had once had everything and lost it all. He was shunned in public, humiliated by those who had once admired him. As his body withered and his mind teetered on the brink of madness, Asamoah realized that Efua's curse was real, and it was destroying him. Desperate and broken, Asamoah decided to leave Accra. The city that had once been his playground was now a prison, and he could no longer endure the shame and suffering it brought. He knew there was only one place left to go: Efua's village. He had heard she had returned there, living quietly with her family, with nothing left to lose. Asamoah set out to find her, hoping against hope that she could lift the curse. The journey was arduous, weak and emaciated. Asamoah struggled to make it to Efua's village. When he finally arrived, he was barely recognizable. The villagers, shocked by his appearance, directed him to Efua's home, where she lived with her elderly mother. When Efua opened the door and saw the pitiful figure before her, she was momentarily speechless. Asamoah fell to his knees, his voice hoarse and broken. "Efua, please, I'm begging you, lift this curse. I can't take it anymore." Efua looked at him, her expression unreadable. She had once loved this man, and he had betrayed her in the cruelest way possible. But now, as she looked at the shell of a man he had become, she felt a pang of pity. "You brought this on yourself, Asamoah," Efua said softly. "You were warned, but you chose to ignore it. The pain you feel is only a fraction of what you inflicted on others." "I know," Asamoah sobbed. "I was a fool. I was cruel and heartless. But I've lost everything: my health, my wealth, my dignity. Please, Efua, I can't live like this." Efua was silent for a long moment, contemplating his words. Then she knelt beside him, placing a hand on his head. "The curse was born from the pain you caused, Asamoah. To lift it, you must make amends. You must seek forgiveness from those you've wronged. Only then will the curse lose its power." Asamoah nodded, tears streaming down his face. "I'll do whatever it takes. I'll make it right." Efua looked into his eyes, searching for the truth. Seeing his sincerity, she spoke the words that would begin to heal him. "I release you from the curse, Asamoah. But remember, true healing will only come when you have made peace with those you have hurt." Asamoah stayed in Efua's village for several weeks, slowly regaining his strength. The sores on his body began to heal, and his nightmares lessened. But he knew that the true test lay ahead. He would need to return to Accra and face Amma, Abena, and Yaah, women whose lives he had ruined, one by one. Asamoah sought them out. Each encounter was painful, filled with tears and anger. Amma, now rebuilding her business, listened to his apology with cold eyes. Abena, who had found solace in her work as a lawyer, forgave him but made it clear she never wanted to see him again. Yaah, still struggling to find her footing, was the hardest to face, but she eventually forgave him, though she would never forget. With each apology, Asamoah felt the weight of his guilt lift slightly. It was a long, difficult journey, but it was the only path to redemption. And through it all, he knew that Efua had given him a second chance, a chance to become a better man. Asamoah's story is one of betrayal, suffering, and ultimately, redemption. It serves as a powerful reminder that our actions have consequences, and the pain we cause others will eventually return to us. But it also teaches that there is always a path to redemption if we are willing to face our mistakes, seek forgiveness, and make amends. To all our handsome young men and beautiful ladies out there, always open your eyes to see the little red flags about your partners, and don't always follow your heart. Use your brain. Asamoah was given a second chance, and he took it. He learned the value of honesty, love, and empathy. Though he could never undo the harm he had caused, he could work to prevent it from happening again. By becoming a better person, by helping others avoid the mistakes he made. Asamoah continued to live a simple life in Efua's village, far from the temptations and dangers of the city. He devoted his time to helping others, offering advice to young men who might have followed in his footsteps. Efua and he became close friends, bound by the shared knowledge of the darkness he had once harbored and the light she had helped him find. If you enjoyed this story, I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, TILES2SHINE, where we share more captivating and thought-provoking stories like this one. Your support helps us continue to bring you stories that entertain, educate, and inspire. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Together, let's keep these tales shining bright.